Hi guys, I'm artist Katie Jarman and I'm going to bring you into my studio today. So today I'm actually going to be starting a brand new painting on this sparkly white canvas. So it's going to be a Christmassy theme painting. So I put it out to the viewers what they'd like to see, and actually it's going to be based on this robin picture with the two robins and the very glowing background. So I'm going to show you a couple of paintings around my studio that I'm actually going to be sort of taking inspiration from today in terms of the process, and then we will get started. So it's just going to take me a second just to swap the camera around, and then I will be able to show you what we are doing. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to bring you along into my studio. So when I walk in the door, this is currently what I'm greeted with. So I've had a bit of a tidy round. So I've got quite a lot of my pieces up in here. I've got a nice little mermaid that I made a few years ago, and my two favourite sunflower pieces. I'm actually surprised those ones didn't sell, but I'm really happy because I like to look at them each day. You're probably wondering what on earth this is. So this is actually all my discarded paint that over the last sort of year, and this one too. So when I scrape my palette, I put the leftovers on here, so you can kind of see all the colours that I like to be using. And this piece, I really like the gold edges, so I may be doing some gold edges on the new robins. I've just recently been painting on the theme of barn owls, so this is one of my new pieces, quite soft, ethereal. It's got a fair bit of spray paint and pattern in the background, so I'm going to be doing some of that on the robin today. This piece was actually part of a Milan art experience, so I'm still working on it, but basically I'm gluing found objects down onto the piece, and I may stick a few things down. And then this is my main studio space. So again, I'm working on this big collection of owls. This one, the black one in the night, is almost done. So I really like the way it's looking off to the side. So I'm going to be perhaps bringing that in onto the robin pieces. Now the piece that it's actually going to be quite similar to in some ways is this one. So this one started its life with collage in the background, so it's very heavily collaged. It's got, there's a picture of a building there, gold leaf, lots of patterns kind of poking through and showing through, so it has lots and lots of layers. It's not quite finished yet. I've got to put some more effects and some more clouds on here, but I really like the way you've got the pattern aspect showing through, so I'm definitely going to be using that technique today. So this is my working space. I do need to work pretty flat when I'm doing collage. It just makes it a bit easier. I pulled out some textured collage paper, some book pages, just anything I felt like. I quite like this texture. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it as a bit of a start in the background. So I'm just going to put you up the top. Pretty much get the full canvas here, so that should be okay. So that was just a bit of an intro to where I'm working today, in the nice peaceful calm, unlike the weather outside. So give me a hi if you're watching live. Unless you write it in the chat, then I'm not sure, I can't see that you're there. So the first sort of stage I'm going to be doing is creating a bit of a collage on this background. So I'm using super heavy gel gloss. I use this quite a lot, so it's nice and thick, and it's archival, so it kind of doesn't yellow. So as you can see, I'm going to be enlarging this up. So I'm kind of anticipating, you just see how big the bird is. The birds are going to be, you know, relatively big in the centre here. And then I'm going to have some of this pattern and things going around in the background. So I haven't really spent much time choosing any of this collage material. I just went in my box and pulled out a few different things that spoke to me this morning, so there's not really any particular reason. I do like having these kind of book pages in the background. I feel like it adds a bit of a story into the piece. Because I quite like the fantasy element. I'm not even putting these where they are, I'm just ripping them up. I don't like to have sort of really sharp edges, so I'm tearing all of that to get that looking a little bit softer. I think that's already torn, so I'll leave that one. And then I've got, I quite like this, I think it's decoupage paper. It kind of melts into the canvas. It's almost like a thin tissue paper. And it goes on quite flat and quite smooth. So the only thing, I was going to say the only thing I need is some, I'd like to put some music in. So I like pairing the music with the birds because of their sort of song and their chatter. I'm not sure if I'm covering it all. I haven't really got a plan. I'm not being too careful. So I'm just going to arrange some of this stuff. So I do like to have it overlapping and sort of coming off the edges a fair bit, so it doesn't just look like a border. So I don't want anything too busy, so I'm going to be painting the robins here. I might not put that texture right where the robin's going to be, because that's going to make it really difficult to paint on. So I did, I'm getting a bit low on my supply of wallpapers at the moment, so I do need to go do a DIY shop to get a little bit more wallpaper. Kind of like the way that shape is starting to give it movement in that background. I might as well go for covering it up like I did on the Hedwig owl that I'm doing. So most of this will end up covered up at the end, but that's okay. Just means I get to choose as I'm kind of going along, rather than kind of leaving some patches bare and empty. I definitely like this 3D effect. It'll all kind of melt in, so it does look a little bit chaotic, but I think that's got a good balance to it, and it's going to make a really nice soft soft style, soft effect to the background of this piece. Okay guys, so I normally take a picture of this at this point, but obviously my camera's in use, so I'm going to just start from the top and work my way down. So most of these things I've actually got I've just collected over the years. I've got things from charity shops. So I got the book and these music pages. Now, actually, I'm not going to do that. So I do have a thing about this gloss gel. It's this, kids at school always like to put PVA glue on their hands so they can peel it off. This glue is so strong, it's really difficult to get off your hands. And I always think, oh, I wish I'd have put my gloves on. I don't like wearing gloves because I like to be able to touch things properly. But in this case, having to spend half an hour trying to peel it off is not comfortable. So I'm going to remember to actually wear my protective gloves. And I haven't got to go through all that trauma of scraping it off my fingers, which is good for the canvas because it means it's no way going to come off ever, but not for me. So you can kind of see the difference that thicker paper is going to have, and then this one is going to be quite different when it goes down. Quite gone wide enough. So you do have to be quite delicate. Or you can put a hole in it quite easily. And I know that from experience. So I do like to have a certain amount of thing wrapping around the edge. Now I did say I might put a gold edge on, but obviously I want this stuff to disappear around the edge so that the gold can come on top at the end. So that will be okay. Now I've messed all this up now and I can't remember where it all went, so I'm just gonna yes. So I do like to put, I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing on the side, the book pages do require a little bit more glue. I think it just soaks in quite a lot and then it's quite difficult to stick on. I do think, should I have it at an angle? I think my OCD is kicking in right about now. I'm going to leave it crooked. So that'll give it a bit of a flow as it comes round. So you're probably not going to be able to read the individual words or, you know, the actual story that's written on these pages. Sometimes when I'm doing this, a word stands out to me. It hasn't on this one. This is talking about fairest flowers I'll bring you, sweetest fairest flowers I'll bring you. So that is standing out to me more than this at the minute. So this tool that I'm using is just a rubber wedge, catalyst wedge. And it's really good for getting all the air bubbles out so that it stays attached onto the canvas. And it's quite satisfying squeezing it all out. For some reason I wanted some orange papers because it's quite an orange glow, but I just don't have any. I was like, why haven't I got any in orange? It's a bit annoying, but so sometimes I can just fit it to the shape that's already there. I will just go back around and put some extra glue on the edges later. So I tend to stick with the wool. The thicker the paper, like this is really thick, the more glue I use. Okay, so this is brand new spotty tissue paper. I've got this in quite a lot of colours now. Sort of light bluish colour. I think I've got black dots on white. But I quite like the negative, so the white is sort of shining through what's underneath. So I'm just going to move all of this. I know I had it really nicely set out, but I'm just going with it. Because I'm not going to be able to make it like it was before. So I'll give up. So I think that decision to put this one on Crooked has actually enabled me to turn some of these. So I'm just sort of going with the flow, kind of circular pattern. So I don't know whether it's interesting to hear my thought process. So guys, if you want to drop me a hi in the comments, I'll be able to, hopefully I'm able to open my, I don't know if I can see the comments today. Depends where you're viewing it. I should be able to. Okay. Still can't see any comments, but that may be because there aren't any. Okay, so where are we gonna go next? So again, I can see this tissue paper slightly bubbling. I've just got to pop that down. Might as well use up this piece that I chopped off into there. So I feel like I'm putting together a bit of a jigsaw puzzle here. See, I do feel liberated. I'm going to put this sideways. And that one decision I made up here was affected pretty much the whole piece. So I've got to be careful I don't put anything too thick here. Just keep coming back that I've got to not do that. I'm going to show you how I'm going to meld that into the canvas a little bit more after. I wish I had a little bit more of it left, but I don't have any. Don't have much. So this piece isn't part of the print membership. I know that's flagging up on the bottom of the screen. This is just going to be an ordinary release, I think. I haven't actually decided what I'm doing for the print membership yet this month. I've got so many ideas, it's too much. Got decision fatigue. I suppose it could be this one. So I think I'm just going to pull this area together with a really nice big piece. So I haven't done this often where I've actually covered the whole piece up, but I'm really drawn to having a really busy background to work on at the moment, so we'll just see where that takes me. I like to sort of change things up or it does get a bit boring. To make sure it's glued properly. I'm a bit of a straight edge there, so I'll have to fix that at some point. Ooh, stick into the gloves. So what have I got left that I haven't used yet? So I've got more of this pink spotty. Thinking, oh, I've put a piece there, but there's already a piece there, it's just white. So I might just introduce a little bit more colour down in this corner. So I'm trying to get that kind of flow going around. I don't want too much of that going over there because it will cover that pattern up. So a bit more information then. So I've got, this is a A3 canvas. That's about 30 by 20 centimetres. And it is probably going to be portrait view. So let's just go along this edge and stick a few bits down. I haven't got as much wrapping around the side on that edge. That's okay. Okay. So I might just put a little bit more of this spotty effect just as a little border. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a coat over all of it, so it's just going to seal it in, make it archival, and that is not going anywhere. Right guys, so I'm going to shut this live off. I'm going to have to get this dry before I can come back on and do the next stage. So I will be coming back on probably about 15-20 minutes once I've managed to get this dry. But I thought it'd be a lot easier for me just to do this in chunks today. So I'm going to be doing multiple lives. It's going to be a bit of a closer look. And getting pretty far with this piece. I'm not promising it'll be finished, but we won't be too far off the end. So thanks for joining back in, and if you like this video, if you can share it, that really helps.